I feel like we let her down. Like we're the ones who left her.
Dad, you know that's not true. She left us. She even took Mom's old rifle when she ran off to the Moss Wars.
We rode her off, Bull, just like we did her mother, before they even delivered the flowers. How could we? Samantha, we didn't hear you.
I can't take this anymore. I'm leaving.
Next time on Ever's After. They say you can't go home again, so I guess you can't leave it behind either. I found out the hard way. Between the front and 809 American Lane, I was running out of homes. Thinking back to my childhood on the block, to better times, the neighborhood seemed so alive. There was Mom, Dad, and Bulb. 809, we had a tire swing in the front yard everyone was always swinging on. Across the street was old Miss Picklesworth, who made the most fantastic brownies. Gurry and his father, the sheriff, lived in a severe old ranch style at 811. Teff and her family at 807. Her brothers and sisters were older, but Teff and I were fast friends as far back as I can remember. But that was before we knew about the war. Before all our lives changed forever. It doesn't feel real to be leaving again, but like they say, you can't leave home again.
Dad, I didn't know you were still awake.
Put the gun back, Sama.
Are you bringing Mom back, sis?
Where will you go?
I don't know.
Anywhere but the front, please. Sam, please promise me, don't follow your mother.
Thank you, Ever's After, for that brand new episode. I am positively hooked on that show and its definitive narrative arc. Next up, learn how to get it on from Neil Coruscant. Radiation Ships is now on WSPN. The Spoon.
Runners and Ratzos, Belchers, Billy T, and Swagman, settlers and survivors, to all you ratheads out there in Radiation Nation. This is an emergency broadcast to your heart. Further instructions incoming. We are live from our EBS compound at an undisclosed location deep in the Lions of the Sadlands. Our hearts pure, our backs strong, and our eyes shielded from the glare of the bone waste. I'm Red Flink. With me, the Professor. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your Radiation Ships. How you doing, Professor? My day's been going pretty good so far. Haven't heard the cricket in a while. And I think, we got some interesting things going on. Are you all right, Professor? You?
You're addressing me, Rad?
Yeah.
Now, Rad, come on. You know that Professor is not my name.
Well, but it's the title you've always insisted on being addressed by.
Well, insisted it's an extreme word. I've spent years building a career, making personal connections, not a career based on walls and pedestals.
Well, sure, but I mean, I've always called you that. That's just sort of how we refer to each other. You call me Rad, I'll call you Professor. I thought that was. I mean, I don't want to give the listeners the wrong idea. There's a stranger that's wandered in here.
Well, I mean, it's true that my knowledge is vast, and I do have a penchant for professing, but that's merely the bejeweled outer shell that conceals my soft, vulnerable innards. And I mean, I thought by now, Rad, that you would know how soft it is inside me.
Well, sure, you definitely have a big heart. That as we produce the show every day, I think our listeners would agree that's fairly self-evident. Now, as I say produce, we don't actually produce the show. Our producer, Caden, handles all the behind the scenes stuff, the things you can't see that make this show what it is. Mm-hmm. That's all Caden. Mm-hmm. I think our listeners would agree that you do have a big heart. How are you doing, Professor?
Well, I suppose in this particular context, Rad, I'm lonely. You know, I have many facets. I have many needs. There's a time for the masses to sustain themselves on the colostrum of acumen that springs forth from the bosom of the professor. But there's also a time for Sham to be held. And who will hold Sham, Rad? Who will hold Sham, if not for you?
No, that's true. And I am definitely here for our listeners. Mm-hmm. And I would have to say that it's odd hearing you say your name because I don't think I've ever heard it on air before like this. Mm-hmm. You, of course, have it, well, on pretty much every door plate on your side of the bunker. Professor Sham DeFruin. Mm-hmm. Are we going to have to get those remade? That's a big investment.
Certainly not. Certainly not. All I'm asking is that you don't segment me into multiple disconnected parts. Just view me as a whole. I need you to look at me, and I need you to see a whole.
Sure, and I'm more than willing to fill that hole as necessary. I guess what I'm trying to do here is find where are we going with this for the listeners? Mm-hmm. Because normally this works a little differently. We're not supposed to be dealing with personal stuff on the air. Mm-hmm. Crickets accepted. So is there anything? What do you need from me? I guess that's what I'm asking, because what we like to do for our listeners when they call in with their problems, we say, what's wrong with you? Why are you having these problems? What are you doing wrong?
Right. Yeah.
So I guess what I'm going to have to do is return those questions on you, Professor. What are you doing wrong? What's wrong with you? Why are you miserable? Is there something that makes you a bad person and sad?
Well, there is definitely something that makes me sad. It's when the years that I've spent cultivating my intellect are thrown off kilter by the unnecessary formalities of title. If a person sees that I'm above them, it becomes difficult to bring myself down to their level to deliver my insight. I mean, when I lower myself, they become disoriented. What's he doing down here with me? And they attempt to lower themselves further. And then I have to further lower myself, and it begins again and again, yada, yada, sunrise, sunset. And there's only so low a person can go before they require special equipment and an aptitude for spelunking, emotionally speaking.
Sure. So I think I'm going to get a picture of what we're looking at here. Because it's something I've felt as well, Professor. It's something that I think, well, anyone with a broadly reaching radio show like ours, with a wide fan base of adoring fans, with many evil, single-minded, just poison-filled detractors,
yes,
will have experienced at some point. Mm-hmm. Because when you really get down to it, we're interacting with a lot of people daily, and they tend to put you on a pedestal, whatever you call yourself. So you may call yourself Professor, you may call yourself, I'm Rad Flink. And then people will come in and say, you think you're better than us because you have this expansive bunker with multiple features, shielding yourself away from the wasteland, but they don't get it. We have that to help them. If we didn't have this bunker, we couldn't help them the way they do. It fulfills a purpose. We're here because it makes your life better. So I think, and correct me if I'm wrong here, Professor, I think we can do away with formalities. There's no reason to call you Professor. We can call you Shum. We can call you Mr. DeFroyen. However you prefer to be addressed, I'm perfectly fine with that. Because the content is the same. The person is the same. The drive is the same. The detractors calling you self-important and haughty and prideful and harmful for the entire Sadlands. Those detractors, those venom-filled little maggot babies, these mutards, they call in, and you don't hear it because we don't let them on the air. Caden keeps them off the air for us. And these people, and this is their words, not ours, they will call in and say some horrendous things. I can't repeat most of them here because they are absolutely just horrible. And these people, they're only calling in to get themselves heard, to get their agenda out there, to let you know that they think that what we're doing isn't helping anyone. Well, of course we're helping. We have thousands of calls every day.
We do.
Every day.
Every day.
That's science. Thousands.
Thousands.
And we help every single one of those people. Hundreds of thousands of calls. And we help them all.
Yeah, we do. Well, because we're bringing just a wealth of experience. I myself, I have a master's in phrenology from the University of Pahonix. I have a degree in spelling from MIT. I'm highly, highly educated, and I try to pour that out amongst the hoi polloi. That's just because that's who I am.
Of course you are. And I think we both have that same drive. I'm, of course, not schooled traditionally. Going with a gut feeling, going with that good old-fashioned common sense, that good old red-blooded, I know what's right because I've decided that.
Right.
There's something to that I think a lot of people miss out there in the wasteland as they say, oh, well, I don't have any water. Oh, my supplies have been stolen by raiders. Like, you can't focus on those things, people.
No.
It'll destroy you if you're focusing on the wrong things.
Yeah. It speaks to the obstinance of the average person and the fickleness. They dig their heels in. They believe something, one day, and the next day it's completely different. And, I myself have spent a lot of time learning and studying and cultivating my craft. I have a master's in puppets from St. Anger University. I've studied with the angel linguists from Texas A&M. I've put in the time to have the right to tell people what to do.
I'm thoroughly trained in all handguns and armaments that we found around the bunker. And
you're very tall.
I'm extremely tall. I can see pretty far.
Yeah.
Shum, let's go ahead and move ahead.
You know what? I think maybe just call me Professor.
All right. Well, it suits me. It's what I'm used to, and what's good for the goose is
two in the bush.
It's two in the bush.
We'll be right back with Rad Flink and Professor Shum DeFryan on Radiation Ships.
Hello, male or other genders. Are you looking for some real full intercourse? My friends and I are so itchy for smooching, and we all bought a phone at the store. We want to do all of the rubbing and flexing, and I promise we won't get any pieces stuck. I just know you're gonna give me so much stink I'll never push it all off. I hope I don't giggle. We can make weird noises, and I'll be so proud that you didn't mess up the gross parts. Dial So Lady Yow 3 to tell me all about it. I hope you come looking for us.
We're back with Radiation Ships and WSPN. The Spoon.
So, ladies and gentlemen, that is a brand new sponsor. I hope you guys like them. Go check them out. They are absolutely wonderful, top ranked in their field. And with that out of the way, let's go ahead and move to a caller. Caller, what's your name and what's wrong with you?
Hello, good afternoon, evening, gentlemen. My name is Anthony Tran, and there's just so much wrong with me. I don't really know where to start.
Well, I would suggest starting at the beginning.
Well, that's a long time. But let's start with this morning. I was thinking to myself in my dark and lonely existence, what do I have to offer the world that we live in today? And I was thinking, well, what is something everybody needs? And what everybody needs is a catchphrase. I mean, anybody can get water. We piss water, and you can drink that. And maybe that's my own catchphrase. Anthony Dran, you can't piss a catchphrase.
That's pretty good.
It is a timeless truth.
That's catchy.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got several catchphrases we use here.
It's true.
And those are hard-earned and time-honored.
Well, you do have such good catchphrases that, I thought maybe you could point me in the right direction of something catchy, something everybody wants. I mean, apart from Sean's moist emotional hole.
Right, yes.
Sure. And that's definitely, we get a lot of calls on that, for sure.
We do.
Caden does screen most of those. So you're looking for a catchphrase. Now, is this for you or for a loved one?
No, it's so I can sell. This is pure plagiarism, gentlemen. I'm just looking for to mine something that you have, something deep.
Okay, well, I'm not going to give you anything in mind you can sell, but I can help you think of some on your own. So do you have a target market in mind? Is there anybody you have looking for catchphrases? Are you just going to sort of wholesale catchphrase? What are we looking at here?
Yeah.
Yes. Well, the other thing I noticed as I was wandering lonely and cold through the wasteland was there seems to be a new theme park opening, and they don't seem to have a catchphrase. And I thought, well, surely they'd have something like, "Hey, kid, do you want to poke a dead body with a stick?"
Right. Yeah. Okay. That's a good that's a good in.
Corpseopolis. Yeah, I've heard great things.
Yeah, that's one of
I've smelled
the
great
test names, I believe.
Yeah.
Oh, I absolutely have as well. So let's talk about that. Do you have any contacts with the owners or proprietors of Corpseopolis?
Not invited contacts, no, but I have watched them from afar.
So you know where to
Quite
find
close,
them.
but quietly.
Right, you know where to find them then, because that's the important
Yes.
thing. Okay,
Oh, I know where to find them.
good. The key to a good catchphrase, any good catchphrase, first of all, it's got to be short. It's got to be sweet.
Yeah.
And by sweet, I don't mean emotionally. I don't mean this sort of weak-wristed, namby-pamby.
Sweet like sweetmeats.
Yeah, more like that. Very umami. That's important with a catchphrase.
Umami.
Yeah. Now, that's the first thing you got to look at. But the second thing is it's got to apply to the business, the person. You want it to communicate something about that quickly and in a memorable way. So what do we know about Corpseopolis? I actually haven't been there. I've heard a few rumors here and there, but
Mostly puppets. They just string them up on strings and dance.
okay.
You can ride some of the corpses too, but I think that's the specific section of the theme park only accessible to those aged 18 or over.
That's probably extra as well. Probably cost extra. All right, so let's think about this. Yeah, a corpse-themed amusement park. So we're looking at Dance of the Dead, Dead Man Will Never Tell Tales.
What rhymes with rigor mortis?
Oh, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
Orange.
Difficult. I find it really helps. Rhyming helps. Of course, I don't write advertising lines. You know, I try to just encapsulate my emotional and relationship wisdom in just short, pithy lines. You know, for example, if I wanted to communicate to someone that the act of infidelity does nothing to satiate emotional hunger, I might say, "Cheatin' ain't eatin'." You know, it's short, it rhymes, and it gets the point across.
That's very true. Okay, how does this one sound? Tail, Tail. Tail a dead man's tail. Is that?
How about
How does that
eat
hit
my
you?
tail? Is that eat my tail?
Well,
Do they have snack
I'm
bars at
afraid
Corpseopolis?
you're going to be inviting a little more attention to yourself than maybe you want. You don't want to give the people the wrong idea. You know, they might be thinking, "Oh, well, someone's inviting me to," and then they get there, and it's a bunch of corpses, and they're like, "Well, this isn't as advertised. This is false advertising. I thought I was being invited to this, and this is obviously there's no these corpses are saying this to me. No one, these corpses can't say eat my tail because I mean, why would they? They're dead, right?"
So it should be more of a buffet situation. So
Yeah.
come along, and if you
All you can eat.
like,
Sure. Yeah.
you can suck on it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Don't necessarily eat it. That's too violent an imagery. But suckling.
Well, it wasn't the eating specifically that was a problem. It was more it sounded like the object of the eating sounded consensual, but actually it's not. That was the problem.
No means no, even in necrophilia.
Right. Well, I mean, they can't say no.
Right.
And an absence of no is basically yes.
Maybe what Corpseopolis needs from you is not a catchphrase. Maybe what it needs is stock.
Ah, yes. Well, I was thinking maybe if I provided them with stock, maybe the method with which I provided them could be a catchphrase, like the things they scream as they pass on.
That's an interesting angle. You could hand them, a small sheet of paper, something like that. You, of course, have to screen for those able to read, those not able to read. I suppose the ones not able to read, you could call in for rehearsals or that sort of thing. That might be a little bit hard to pull off. I understand people in extreme pain have trouble remembering lines.
But it's important too, I think, if you really want to delve into the world of catchphrases, to just immerse yourself in the world that you want to encapsulate in words. You know, my catchphrases are manifold, but they're also quite memorable.
That's not a very catchy catchphrase.
No, that's more of a precursor to a catchphrase, you know. But because of my field of expertise, you know, I'm known for saying things like, "I've come here to facilitate amicable resolution to this quandary and to use big words, and I'm all out of big words."
Okay, now we've been talking about other people's catchphrases, but I've got an idea, maybe for you. Little sort of viral marketing, just get the word out on the down low, get the people talking about it. What if, and hear me out here, what if you don't give Corpseopolis a catchphrase? What if you have a catchphrase? What if your catchphrase is, "You ever been to Corpseopolis?" Bam! See, it's a catchphrase.
And it evokes an immediate answer, yes?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's sort of a grassroots, like, have you heard these people keep disappearing? Do you know where they're going? Well, to Corpseopolis, of course.
My problem isn't viral marketing the reason we got into this mess in the first place?
That is the reason we have an abundance of corpses to necessitate the building of a theme park.
One of the many.
Do you have viruses?
I have things living in me. I don't know if they're all viruses.
It's more of a parasitic, symbiotic type situation.
Yes, but it's consensual.
Okay. Mutualism. That makes sense. Look it up.
Yeah, well, there's something boils deep inside me. I just assume it's a catchphrase from a parasite.
Do you feel obligated to pay them royalties if you use the parasite's catchphrase?
They eat a percentage of what I eat.
Plus, I mean, their room and board is virtually free otherwise. But I think
I was thinking of the catchphrase when I jump out as, "Why is there blood in my stool?"
I think that's a little... It doesn't really get the message across. And I'm going to say the answer is probably parasites from what we've heard so far. Now, I'm not a doctor, and I'm not trained in these things.
Sounds like prejudice to me.
Well, no. It's not prejudice. It's a common... I mean, Professor, back me up here. You have a... What was it? An
Cardigan.
Right, you do have... Yes, you're wearing a cardigan. It's lovely, by the way. I love the stripes.
Thank you.
The stripes are very slimming.
It's zebra wool.
Yep. It's zebra, really? That's
Zebra,
fantastic.
if you prefer.
Does it say that on the tag, or are you just...
No, I'm just assuming.
Radiation Ships will be right back. Now another commercial break on WSPN, The Spoon.
You cretins haven't seen the last of me, exclaimed me, Jean Valet, adventurer at large in the adventure of Lars Jean Valley. The beastly brutes bound me barely, bear and forbearing to a baby bear, left barely conscious to forbear the blaring band's forebearers' unbearable beatings and Baron Braun Bear's brown bear, Baron's preserve. What fiends! My hands are fastened immovably to this baby bear cub. I'll never escape. Ha! Do you know who I am? And that's exactly why you will never leave the Larzon Valley with the sapphire eyes of the spectral grizzly. Or alive. With the heat of the sun and the cries of this cub, I'm afraid I shan't last long, even though I possess extraordinary mental and physical prowess. What's worse, the scoundrels have separated the cub from its mother, ensuring her wrath should she discover me. Yes, bandit chieftain, tell your men to withdraw so I can make good my escape. Those bandits thought that bear would have buried me, but they never counted on me knowing how to bust free any rope, and my animal-calming buzzmouth flute that I acquired from my nearest store. Now what to do about these deadly sun rays? Luckily I have my Sadlands parasol neatly stored away. Just pop, eat up. Sadlands parasol. Parasol of your problems.
Feeling love forlorn? It will all be fixed now on Radiation Ships.
So I guess what I'm saying is I'm really worried we're going to run out of blasting caps before I get that expansion fully built. Looks like we've got a caller on the line. Caller, go ahead. What's your name? What's wrong with you?
How's it going, Nash? My name is Straw. This is the first time I've called and the first time I've listened to what seems like a wonderful show.
Well, thank you very much. What was your name again? I didn't quite get it. Couldn't quite make it out. Not sure we got a bad connection or what's going on there.
My name is Straw.
Fra.
Yeah.
Fra.
Yeah.
All right. Just making sure we got it off the top. Go ahead.
Yeah, you can call me Fra or Fry. It's fine. I'm really an accepting sort of guy.
That's good. It's good to be open.
So as I've been listening, I've noticed that you guys have this attempt and a need to sort of help people. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to join in on that thought and really just, let you guys know that you should probably get out the message of the end of days that is coming. The true apocalypse is coming.
The end of bees.
The end of days.
Days.
It's nigh.
Okay. The end of dates.
The end of dates.
When lonely.
So like times.
Are they related to the bees?
They might be related to the bees.
Do the bees pollinate the dates?
They might.
Okay.
Do you know anything about dates, Professor?
I don't know anything about bees.
Important. All right, caller, what do you know about bees?
I know that B is usually the letter that comes after A. Mm-hmm. Like apocalypse, which is the thing that is coming, like our Lord Piddington says.
Okay, so you're saying there's going to be a bee-apocalypse?
That is part of there's a bee apocalypse, there's this fire apocalypse, mankind will be depraved and just go to his most base instincts. He will go from town to town, thus saith Mr. Piddington, and destroy everything.
Okay, so it sounds like maybe you're reading a very old newspaper.
Why would I be reading an old newspaper? I'm telling you the future here, guys. I'm trying to warn you as you guys sound like reasonable people of the Lord's wrath coming upon us.
All right, now which Lord are we talking about? Is this Lord Daikon?
Lord Daikon? Oh, God, like anybody listens to Lord Daikon.
Okay, well then what Lord? I mean, that was just an example. You don't have to get all angry. I need to get up in arms just because I suggested one.
I'm just saying, you can't compare my Lord to that. That's not the same thing at all.
Look, I can compare all kind of things. I can compare apples and oranges if I want to.
No.
What Lord are we talking about?
See, that's what I'm worried about. Like, the comparing of apples and oranges is the kind of sin that leads to what is coming.
Okay, so there's something you want to warn us about. What is it? What problem you're having? You want to warn our listeners about?
The end is nigh. It's an important message. One, I don't want to get out here.
Well, I mean, the end is nigh. Sure, I think we're all on the same page there. Multiple incidents that we refer to as a confluence.
Yeah.
So I mean, it seems like I have to agree with the professor there. It seems like this is old news. We're warning people about history. I mean, you have to know history to repeat it. But I think the important thing here is I'm not sure how much that warning is going to help at this point.
See, what you're doing is forgetting history by remembering history incorrectly.
Let's say my version of history is apples.
Okay.
What's your version of history?
My version is much like apples. Mankind has taken bites and bites of it, and now there's nothing but the core. And once the core gets brought down, what's going to happen? It's just the sin will flourish. It'll flourish everywhere.
Okay. Sure.
And I want you guys, to be on our side, away from this horrible nature of depravity and dead bodies everywhere and monsters wandering the streets and mankind just killing other people and people having to, put themselves in buildings and protect themselves in buildings from other people, like underground or something. That's coming. That is coming.
You'd have to say, didn't you see any of these? I mean, there were several. There was the H bomb. There was the atom bomb. There was the J bomb. There was the K-pop. There was all sorts of incidences that came together, and I mean, it was very similar to what you're describing. So I think we are talking about apples and oranges here.
Well, thank you for in fact bringing up the K-pop because that is a very similar path that I think people are on. It's just walking down the streets, bobbing their heads and doing weird, funny moves to the beat of what mankind is now doing.
I think that may be the J bomb I was talking about earlier. The sound like you're describing a group of jumblies.
That's a pejorative.
There
wasn't the J bomb the one with the hair color thing?
No. That was the one that spread the J virus. that the Jumblies
Pejorative.
game, I believe. Again, these are all, this isn't something that I experienced personally. This is what we've heard. This is the callers calling in, telling us sort of what they're seeing in the world out there, what to be aware of, what to be, what to warn each other about. It's you know, we aren't technically the kind of show where we're gonna send out public service announcements. We're more of a self-help show. So, but as these callers call in, they do sometimes, you know, give us a general idea of what they're dealing with in their day-to-day life. And frankly, it sounds like you're trying to warn them of what they're currently going through and what has already happened. So I'm not sure what message you're trying to put out there.
Lo, said Mr. Pennington, it shall come forth that mankind shall seek his deepest urges, and crap shall first happen.
Now, who is this Mr. Pennington?
North Sadlands.
Yeah, with the slugs.
Well, yeah. Actually, he's started a pet colony now with the deformed slugs. They're now his pets, actually.
Okay. And what's your relationship to him? Do you have any warm feelings, emotional attachment? What would you like him, I guess?
I service his slugs. He gets some sort of juice off of them. I'm not really sure the whole deal.
Let's walk this back a little bit. So you're talking about K's popping, people moving strangely, things being thrust forward, people moving strangely. I think I'm getting a picture of what's going on.
The end is coming.
Yep. Yeah, you are concerned about things concluding before they've run their full course. So first, I want to applaud your courteous warning. It's only polite to alert those in proximity when things are about to erupt. Nobody wants to spend time cleaning the essence of life out of their fabric of reality. But let's talk about prolonging this experience. Have you tried strengthening your pelvic floor?
Well, I guess that helps with running, which is a thing that will be needed when thusly the end comes.
Well, no, let's not be so concerned about running. If you want things to last longer, don't think about what you're going to do once it's done. Just stay in the moment, but not so in the moment that you hasten the end.
You don't know anything about the big things that's coming. Mr. Pennington says when he goes out on his desert walks, we follow him, and he's there with the slugs, and he says, "The end is nigh," and I go, "Oh, the end is nigh." That's mostly my relationship, by the way, to Mr. Pennington.
Right.
To address your previous question.
I'm sure Mr. Pennington has a very big thing, but what good does it do anyone if it just if it can't last long enough? You need to look at restructuring your apocalyptic experience, as it were.
I want the glory of when it's all over. I want to bask in the feeling of when this has been released and done, and mankind is no longer just suffering in the same ways of suffering, but the new kinds of evil blood fire suffering. So cometh end. Let's get this over with so I can bask in that warm glow feeling of prophetic coming.
But what about her needs?
Okay. Well, let me go ahead and say this. If you're just going to repeat things that have already happened, if you're just going to, say, oh, there's going to be blood and fire in the sky, if you're going to say half the population of the city is going to suffer from ego death,
and robots are going to take over things, demons are coming for us, it's coming to worse.
Sure.
Every evil will rise.
Right. Yeah.
All things will suffer.
Okay.
Your pain and suffering will come. Follow Mr. Pennington. Ride his slugs. The blue-eyed ones will fear.
All right. That's about enough of that. Caden, go ahead and hit the switch if you would.
He should try thinking about baseball.
We've always wondered.
Yeah.
What is baseball?
Yeah. That kind of mystery, that should give him enough detachment. I mean, I feel the key to a long and satisfying using his terms, apocalypse, is finding the right balance between passion and detachment, and I wish him the best.
Things like baseball, the great mysteries of life.
Yeah.
There's always got to be that little bit of life that we just don't know what the heck it is.
Yeah.
And that's what keeps the fire going. That's what keeps relationships going.
Yeah.
So don't find out too much about your partner.
No.
Don't find out too much about those you work with or your coworkers. if they tell you too much, cut them off right there, because you want to let them know you want to keep that mystery alive. You want to keep that fire in the relationship.
It's good to, leave answers to stumble upon later, or to discover that things are, in fact, mythological. We don't know if there really ever was a baseball.
Where did the stories come from?
Or in Ohio.
Did they really come from the cradle of life in Mesopotamia?
Or a clitoris.
True.
No one will ever know.
Very true.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's about all the time we have for today. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. I'm Rad Flink. With me, as always, the Professor.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
This has been Radiation Ships. Don't come looking for us.